ago, the state of Texas put out a RFP, request for proposals. And that was requests to submit to the state legislature a proposal in setting up an entity for research and development in educational technology. It was a huge effort. University of Texas at Austin, Dr. Paul Reston, who you may know of, was a partner in the original proposal. And we were the winners. At the time, it seemed like a huge amount of money because it was $1.2 million, and that was to last for 3 years. And we were then to be self-supporting from then on. I learned quickly that trying to become self-supporting with external funding is a real big job. And so the advantage that I had was not only the support within our department, but the support within the staff that we were able to recruit. In the past 30 years, TCET is responsible for over $25 million in funding. That funding has come from state activities, country, USA, and corporate. And I think what we're able to do for the initiative that is looking now into artificial intelligence in particular and in collaboration will allow us to actually skip some steps that often we all have to take on new build upon. I guess I'd start with some organizations. Most of you know ISTE, International Society for Technology and Education. ISTE has been a moving force within the country, but that association we're able to lean on. We had a large number of faculty who were actually moving forward in the use of technology in education. So the partnerships that we've had with associations, and ISTE is not the only one, but perhaps one of the largest. Another is a state agency or organization, the Texas Center for Educational Technology. And TCET was a founding partner in much of the activities that TCEA, Texas Computer Education Association, was able to accomplish. So partnerships with organizations that actually already provide you with a mechanism for dissemination. Most of us, I'm sure, in China and elsewhere are, how do you get that new information out to people in the field? And these associations help greatly in that area. We've had corporate partners. Probably the largest one to us was Intel. Got a couple of folks here that were employees of TCET over years. Dr. Lemoyne Dunn, wife Lemoyne. Lemoyne was head of our Intel Teach to the Future project. That particular effort included conducting workshops and training sessions throughout actually North Texas, Texas A&M, and South Texas was the South Texas component. But we reached 20,000 plus students who were teachers in the field and were learning about this new effort of technology in the classroom. And thanks to Lemoyne and other corporate partners that joined with Intel, we were able to get a lot of effort going in that regard. Dr. Cliff Whitworth, still on campus. Cliff was our technology expert, still is. He's on campus, just not with us. But Cliff was responsible for our website activity and all of the things associated with that. So we had organizations, we had corporations. In the state level, we've had some significant accomplishments, and most of them successful, maybe not always. About 15 years ago, the state of Texas initiated an effort on, everything's an acronym. This particular acronym was TIF, Telecommunication Infrastructure Fund. And we're talking about multi-millions of dollars that was set aside by the state to put networks into schools and into cities so that across the state people were networked and we had this infrastructure. Well, we were successful through TCET to convince TIF, the TIF board, that educators are part of that infrastructure. If you do not have individuals who are able to utilize that infrastructure, you are not going to be successful in the things that all of us wanted to see happen. So we received funding from the TIF board. We've had a lot of, and I'm sorry that President Spotros had other events going on today too, because I wanted to brag on UNT. By the way, I retired about 8 years ago, so I still stay as connected as I can, but I'm not associated with TCET, I'm associated with learning technology. But all of our funding for staff, for resources, had to come from external funding. We had no university-specific support. But what we did have were things like this room. Services, locations, a place to call home. And those of you who are looking for partners, you want to make sure that your equipment, your personnel are in a place that you're proud of. Now, I'm sorry, we just got that big trailer out there moved in yesterday, I think it was, because they were propping it up. We had a big expansion over to the west. But we've received significant support from the university. And what you'll find now in almost every federal agency that's soliciting proposals is that you have to show that the organization is providing support for that particular initiative. And so some of us have gotten real good at identifying support that maybe some people don't really understand. Support for faculty. Yes, if we've got faculty here who are teaching 1 or 2 courses a semester, what do they do the rest of their time? Well, they're involved in research and in development and things associated generally with the research activities. We have a conference in Austin, and we go down and negotiate with the hotel for rates. And the rates, let's say, were $100 a night. Well, then we look at the rack rate, or the rate that the hotel advertises, and it's $225 a night. So we said, okay, there's a $125 difference per night because you've given that to this activity, so we would add that in. And you can come up with millions of dollars worth of support, but you have to work at it. At the national level, you're familiar with some of the activities that are going on in education. And we've been successful in that, but not because we had the best idea, which we think we did, but because we came forward with the best partnership. You tie what you're doing and what a corporation wants to see happen, and with an organization like ISTE or Intel, forget ISTE, they're an association, Intel and Microsoft. Who else did we have? We had a couple of other computer, to tell them who else is supporting your project, put you in a section and say, these are our partners, and these are partners that allow us to do the things that we should be doing. One quick example, because it draws chuckles out of folks most of the time. Many of you remember the Super Collider project that we had here in Texas. The Super Collider now, unfortunately, its activity is being handled over in Switzerland. But we started that activity in Texas probably 25 years ago. It was down in Waxahachie, Texas, which is a little bitty town south of Dallas. And after about 5 years, our U.S. legislators decided that it was costing too much to create these super colliders. And so funding for the superconducting super collider project was cut. And down at Waxahachie, there were buildings 10 times as big, filled with medical researchers, technologists, hundreds and hundreds of folks who were concentrating on that particular application. And all of a sudden, they had to go find other jobs. Not only that, there was a lot of resources down there. And there was a request for proposal that came out and said, we want partners to come in and tell us how you're going to use this equipment. And if you can convince us that's a good application, we will then fund you, not through money, but through resources. And all of us, we'd go down for briefings, and I would ride down with our physics faculty and our biochemistry faculty and others, and we'd talk about what's happening. And I think we were not taken very seriously, either on campus or off campus, because what we were proposing was a partnership that was with school districts. And these school districts were spread across the state of Texas, but we ended up with 15 school districts who were partners with us. And we didn't ask for money. And when it was all said and done, our proposal was the only proposal that was funded. Because everyone else said, okay, I want to do the following, and I want $2 million to make it happen. Funds, we'll give you $2 million worth of resources. And believe it or not, about a third of it were trailers like that. Because all over Waxahachie area, they had put military spec trailers for offices. And these were false floored, and they were wired, and they, on the inventory, those things were $60,000 each for a trailer that was to set up as a lab. Now, I guess you know that when it's been opened up and used for a period of time, it's used. But the school districts didn't care. Every school district, and by the way, I ended up calling 18 school districts, and 15 of them had the $100,000 that wanted to come into the project. And so that $100,000 bought them 3 years worth of support. But we also realized that we needed partners who were teachers. Because all too often, we buy the school districts and their teachers. So the school districts could then send teachers to conferences. They could pay for the travel to come up and be involved. Catalog of services that Cliff was involved with. My final encouragement to you is build on what you got. You've got staff, you've got faculty. You want a partner that has resources that is readily available for you to use. So build on that. Build on partners that our current partnership would dearly love to have Dell or Texas Instruments or some of the other technology-based companies as partners. It's a no-brainer. I mean, you start building on success. You don't want an unsuccessful project. You don't want unsuccessful universities. So what I hope that we've proven is that our university is established to be your partner and a good one at that.